Sechta Bava basra. We're starting from the Mishnah. One who buys the peiris, the meaning of peiris of a shevach of a dovecoat, he buys not the shevach itself. He's buying the yevonim of the yonim, the pigeons, the birds of the shevach. He buys it from the chava. Mafriach v'reicha rishayna. He has to leave for the shevach to exist. He has to leave with the shevach. The father, the birds, a pair of birds, the father and the mother. Later we're going to learn, not only that, the kids, you have to leave from the kids. Let's say the Yoina has kids, right? So the first kids that it has, the mother and the father, the mother and father, the kids of that mother and father also has to be left. We're going to learn.
How does he know which ones are the first kids?
The first ones that it gives off, once he buys it, those Yoinim that gave. The first ones the first payers that come out, that's the first one. That first one he has to leave with the shevach. Okay? Zog the Gemara, zog the Mishnah weiter, peiris hakaveres. If he's selling the peiris of the kaveres, what's the peiris of a beehive? The peiris of the bees. There's swarms of bees, and we're going to learn about this. There's 3 swarms usually in the season. Others in Greece, it says over here that there was 7, 8, 10 times that there were swarms that came out. So those swarms, the first 3 swarms, that's what's sold from the kaveres. Okay, Peiris kaveres. Noitel shleish nechilim. He takes the 3 swarms, the 3 batches that come out from this beehive. They come out. The malka comes out. It says when it gets filled up, the malka comes out, and it comes out with a swarm. They sit on a tree, and it makes a new beehive. And then it happens again, up to a 3rd time. After the 3rd time is
What do I do with the old beehives? It becomes empty?
No, beehive does not become empty. We're going to learn about it 1 second. So he only takes the shleish and the chilim. The rest he has to leave there.
Oh, the 3 streams
Of bees that came out, the first 3 streams, that's what he bought, not more. Umisadis. And we're going to learn what misadis means. Other misadis means that the buyer could, sidus, sterilize, that he can't have any more children. Or sidus means no, it's skipping. He gets 1 swarm and the seller gets 1. Because as it goes, every swarm after the first swarm of bees come, it gets worse and worse. It's not as chesh of the bees. Zog the Gemara, one who buys chalois dvash. Now we're not talking about the bees. He's buying now. He's not buying the bees in the kaveres. He's buying the combs, the honeycombs that are in the kaveres. So the din is manir shtei chalois. He takes the honeycombs, but he has to leave 2 combs of honey in the kaveres. Why? Because he doesn't want to. He's not selling him the kaveres. He's only selling him the honeycombs. Now, for the kaveres to exist, you need the bees have to be there. And for the bees to continue in the winter time, they need food. So shtei chalas you have to leave for the winter time. Zok the Gemara, let's say a tree, olive tree, lakoitz, he's buying it in order to cut branches that he needs for firewood. He needs the wood. Maniach shtei graphias. He has to leave from that olive tree 2 branches in order that it should be able to regrow. Because if you cut everything, it won't regrow. In fact, you said only the breicha rishayna, meaning that the mother bird that was there, so the first babies that it has, that you have to leave with the mother, right? So says the Gemara, we learned mafriya breicha rishayna ushniya, not just the first babies that came from the mother. Now it means even the babies that grew up and had babies, those babies also you have to leave. So Gemara,
somebody has to leave
2 sets. Meaning, the mother gives birth to 1 breicha. The breicha becomes adult and has another breicha. A breicha is 2 eggs usually. One is a zachem, one is a nekeva. So you have to leave 2 groups of birds. It's not a kasha. Hala ima. Says the Gemara, the breicha rishayna. When we said breicha rishayna means for the mother. The mother has other kids. The first breicha, the first pair of eggs that she has, that's the only eggs that's left for her, right? And not the other ones. The other ones he can take. The other birds he can take. If this mother had 10 babies, the first 2 babies is left for the for the shoivach.
When he buys it, he takes it, or are you talking about
He
from before?
he didn't buy the shoivach. He comes to the shoivach, and he's buying he's buying all the paydays, he's buying all those yoinin that will give birth in the future. Now there's a mother bird there, right? He's not getting that one. So we say from the mother bird, she's going to have a whole bunch of babies. The first two babies that come out the first time when he's buying, so those two babies remain with the shoivach. Okay?
The watchman.
But the other one's not. You got it so far?
Right.
Ha le'ima. So he says hala. So the Breicha Rishena that he's leaving for the Meicha, that means the Lekech has to leave for the Meicha. The Breicha Rishena that gave and the Iloha and the Breicha Rishena that the Mishnah mentions is Lima. I'm sorry, look, this Braisa that says the Breicha Rishena is talking about for the first Breicha that was given birth, right? Now became adults and had babies. So the babies of the babies has to be, that's the first one law, has to be, it's called Rishona law. And the Le'ima and the Rishonas to the mother, the first babies that the mother had, only the Rishona remains. All the other babies go to the buyer. In fact, you want to Maishna Ima. Why is it different by the Ima the Mitztafsa Abrat Azuki the Shavkin law? You say, what's the whole reason that the mother gets the babies? You have to leave the first babies with it. Because if the babies are going to be taken away, then the mother's going to fly away, you're going to have no shuvah. It's going to be zero. So he says so what's the whole reason we're leaving the babies? So the mother shouldn't run away. So says the mother, but now that she has the daughter, and it has her husband, the Zuga, so she has two company, so finished, she's not going to run away. So affecting the mother, so the babies, why do we say the children we have to keep their children too? She has also two company.
How long does it take to get the children to have children? They're just born.
It says every month of the year, there are eggs growing, giving birth, and it takes 2 months to become adults. Every month except for Adar, we said. Here it says, it says, Achas asor piyom bashona. Achas ese piyom bashona. It gives birth. Every chedesh it gives birth 2 eggs. In the other, it doesn't give off
This is what
birds.
regular pigeons?
Pigeons, yeah. Yonim HaChadosh is Gedei Leis. The Yonim HaChadosh that grow up, Ulachas Shnei Chadoshim, Maschilin Gam Heim Lases V'Lodis. After 2 months, okay. Anyway, so why do we have to wait for their V'Lodis? Now, just like the mother has two company, her husband and the daughter. The daughter has the mother, her mother, and she has her husband. So she has two company also.
Brothers and sisters, no?
So why is it the mother is the mother and the grandfather, whatever, but she has the mother, and the daughter has the mother, and she has her husband. So Ihinami, why do we have to keep her kids? She has two company. Titztaba Ima, she has company from the mother, Azuga and her husband. Whatever the husband. That's the Shavkinala, the maid, the Shavkinala that we leave for her. So she has also two company. Why do we have to keep her babies also? And you want to Ima Bata Mitzvah. A mother, the daughter is considered as company. Good. And that's what makes her feel good. Brata, Ima, but it says the daughter, it doesn't consider the mother company, only the children. That's why we wait for the children. Okay?
So children don't think the mother is company, but they think the mother thinks that the children are company.
The mother is, yes. And then he says, we should always keep the babies because every baby, if that goes away, it's going to be a trickle effect. He says, no. Once there is in the Shuvah Chaburis Rabbis of a Mishpacha, which is considered, once you have already 2 sets of generations, so then we say there's no need to keep weiter. It's going to stay. So that was we just answered. We learned the Mishnah Peretz Kavedes, the fruits of the Kavedes, which are the bees. Noitel shleisha nechilin. He takes the 3 swarms, umasaris, and the next one he sterilized that the bees can have babies. In fact, what are you talking? First of all, it's awesome not to be Mesadas. But how is it? How is the Meicha being Mesadas these birds? By giving it mustard seeds. If it eats mustard seeds, then the mouth of the bees are very sharp, right, and becomes thirsty, and then it eats up its own honey and becomes full, and has no desire for priya revia. That's what it says. That's how it becomes sterile. They said in Eretz Yisrael, in the name of Rabbi Yisrael Rabbi Chanina, Lo yichardol shemisarsan al mitay shapim chad. It's not that the chadal itself is misadis them. It doesn't sterilize them. They can still have babies. Al mitay shapim chad. Only because they feel bitter in the mouth from the mustard. They go back to eat their own honey to get the sharpness out of the mouth. So then they become hizbi machilas advash. Then they become full from the honey. So once they fill, they have no desire for priya revia.
What did we say? What did we say about honey? That you can buy when you buy honey, you get what, the 3 streams?
He buys the bees. When he buys the bees, he buys the first 3 swarms.
Swarms of bees. Not honey.
Swarms of bees. The first 3 swarms of bees, that's what he gets. And the last one, after that's nothing. It's so schwach. Okay.
It's very bitter.
Rabbi Yochanan, no, it means weak. It's not.
Weak and
Rabbi Yochanan gives a different piddush in sidus. Sidus means alternating, skipping. It says that the buyer takes in an alternate fashion. How? He takes the first swarm, he takes the 3rd swarm, and he takes the 5th one. And the rest, the Moicha gets. And he brings down from the Rashbam that, like this, the side, the Moicha silent.
Oh, this you're saying that the Moicha keeps those 3?
The first.
Before we said that he keeps
up to 3 and no more.
That's
now we're saying he buys the first 3.
Swarms of bees.
Yes.
That's what we learned first.
And then there's no more swarms. Now we're learning, no, that's not the pshat. We see this, that you give them chadla and
in other words, the Moicha keeps the 3 swarms.
There's 6 swarms. And the buyer gets every other one.
The 2nd, 4th, and
First, 3rd, and 5th.
5th. Okay.
And the buyer gets the 2nd, 4th, and 6th.
Well, the Moicha keeps, you mean?
Keeps. And the reason for this is so it should be evened out. That one gets the better, one gets the worse. One gets the better, one gets the worse. As you're going further down, it gets worse and worse. Are the best, yes. That's what he says. Okay, Masli said Tana in the Braisa we learned. No, that's not how it works. The buyer is paying money. Noitel, and the Mishnah's lashon is Noitel shleish nechilim b'zeh hazeh. It says in the Mishnah that the Mukina gets the first 3 swarms. Noitel shleish nechilim. It doesn't say no alternate fashion. Noitel shleish nechilim b'zeh hazeh. Umekam ve'elech Noitel achas maniach achas. Yeah, that he gets the first nechil for 3 nechilin. So that's automatically it goes to him, the first 3 nechilin. So what does it mean after the 3 sidus? It means that the 4 and 5 and the 6 and weiter, that they do in an alternate way. Here, shleish nechilin b'zeh hazeh, umekam ve'elech Noitel achas la'atzmai maniach achas l'meicha.
So he gets more nechilin.
Yeah, much more. Not like we originally learned. There's only 3 and there's a sidus. Yeah.
How many nechilin there are?
Right.
Then
after the third one, you start alternating. Okay. Chalois dvash. Now we're going to talk about the honeycombs. Chalois dvash maniach shtei chalos. He must leave 2 chalos in the beehive in order because he didn't sell him the beehive. He sold him the honeycombs. But for the beehive to exist, he doesn't want to destroy it. You have to leave 2 chalos for the bees to stay there during the winter to have food. The honey that's in the kaveres, in the beehive, it is always considered Michael Adam to be makabel tuma, and it's right to be makabel, even though at times you have the bees eating it, it's still called Michael Adam. Okay? And if it's Eichel Tameh, then it could be Metameh, Eichel, another Eichel. If it has the shear of a Beya, or by Mashka, if it's considered as a Mashka, the Devarim, so if it has the shear of a Revius of a Lug, it could be Metameh, other Eichlim, if it has a Revius. Okay? It's not talking about itself. Itself, it's the Bechol Shu.
In other words, so the honey in a beehive, you get tummy?
It's considered, it's considered
How does it get
Michael
tummy?
Adam, if it somehow got tummy.
Whatever, that
Shirts, yeah. So then, then it's considered Michael. If he took out that honey and there was a sheretz, let's say there, so that, and it has the shear of a bay, it could be Matama, other Eichlin. Okay, so Gemara, but it has a did as a Michael. We'll soon see. So the Gemara Alma, so we see Alma Kasav, so we see Afghana holds Loy Boy Mashava. You don't have to have a special intention to be mashavad as a Michael Adam. Hagam, the bees are eating also from this honey. So the Chayda shouldn't be Michael Adam. No, he says it's considered Michael Adam, even though he didn't designate or reserve in his head it should be Michael Adam. He didn't have that kavanah. Meisa, in fact, the Gemara Akasha on Avkahana from this Braisa, it says Dvash b'kaberes Einoi loy oicha v'loy mashke. It's not oicha nor mashke. So and that's why it's not a kabel tumah at all. And it's mamish against what the Avkahana said. The Avkahana said that what? We just said that the Vash b'kaberes is a Michael, is always a Michael Adam, even without having anything in mind. Abaye answered, loy tzicha, we need it. Or the kavanah of the Braisa is only Ela La'oisen Shtei Chalis. He's referring to the two chalis that you have to leave in the kaveres, that a person is not allowed to touch it, and it's designated for the bees to be able to sustain the beehive. So that's not Michael Adam. So that's the ones that he says, that the Braisa says over here, that it's loy oicha loy mashke. That's, he's referring to those two chalis that you left in the kaveres.
So those can't
Because those were only for the bees.
So those can't become tummy.
Right, they're not Makabal Tumah because they're not Michael Adam. Rabbi gives a different answer. He says, Rabbi Lezi follows Rabbi Lezer. The reason why the Devash B'Kavaras is not going to be Makabal Tumah, if you remember from the previous Gemara, Rabbi Lezer says a Kavaras has a din like Karka. Where do we see that? It's not that we learned in the Mishnah. In Masechta Shvius, it says Kavaras the Beirim, a Kavaras a beehive. Rabbi Lezer Imarei hi Karka. It's like karka in every way. It's kind of like karka, b'kesed, b'shtar, b'chazaka, right? Yeah, so it's you could be kind of b'kinyan agav. You could be kind of b'kinyan agav, but they mekabeles tuma. But it's not mekabel tuma. I'm saying because of a prusbul, you could write a prusbul. You remember a prusbul can only be written if the leiva had karka. If the leiva only has a kavedes. He only has a beehive. It's considered as karka, and you can write a prusbul based on the kaveres, which is considered as if the leiva has karka. Ve'ini mekabeles tuma b'mkayma, and it's not mekabel tuma if it's in its place because it has a din like karka. And karka is not mekabel tuma. Okay, says the Gemara. And somebody who takes out the honey from the beehive on Shabbos. Chayiv chatas because it's like he's cutting a tree. Chayiv chatas. No. It's like he's cutting something that's growing on the karka and he's ripping it out from the karka. So he's chayiv a carbon chatas for it. It's like he's doing a malach b'sheikig on Shabbos. That's what Rabbi Lezer learned. So you see, he holds it has a din like karka, and that's why it wasn't a kabel tumah. You cannot write a prusbul based on the leiva having a beehive. It's not considered. It doesn't have a din like karka, and therefore you can't write a prusbul umekabelis tuma bimkaima, and it will be mekabel tuma bimkaima because it's not karka. And somebody who takes out the honey from it will be pata from makabel chatas. So what do we see? So we said we asked the Nafkana. Rav Kahana said, no, one second. We asked on Rav Kahana, what was the kasha Rav Kahana? Rav Kahana said, it has a din of Michael that it's Mekabel Tumah, right? Here we said it's not like a Eichel or Mashke. So Abaye gave an answer, he's only referring to the two chalas that were designated for the beast. Rava gave an answer, the reason why it was Mekabel Tumah in this Baraisa, because it follows the Shita of Rabbi Lezer. Rabbi Lezer holds that Karka is not Mekabel, Kabbalah says it didn't like Karka, and Karka is not Mekabel Tumah. Rabbi Lezer said, my time, this is all from the Gemara before, my time to Rabbi Lezer. Why does Rabbi Lezer hold that a Kaveres, a beehive, has a din like Karka? Because it says in Shmuel, if you remember that Shaul HaMelech told everybody before he went to Milchama against the Plishtim, Shaul made everybody swear that they shouldn't eat anything till the evening. But Yohinasan, his son, didn't listen, and he took his stick, and it says Vayitpol Oisa Beyadas Advash. He dipped the stick in the dvash and he ate from it. So, what does yar have to do with honey? Only to teach you. Just like by a forest, if you cut something, a branch or anything in the forest, you're going to be chayv chatas for doing a melach on Shabbos, for being kaitza, av dvash. So too by honey. Somebody who extracts the honey from the beehive is considered as cutting on Shabbos, and he's going to be chayv kav mechatas. So according to this dasha, this is the reason why Rabbi Lezer held that the kaveres has a din like karka, and the dvash in the kaveres also has a din like karka, and that's why it's not mekabel tumah. Meisa, in fact, Yimarakasha on Rava's answer that he said that brayso, the reason why it was mekabel tumah is because he held like Rebbe Lezer that kaveres has a din like karka. The vash hazov michabartoi. We learned in the brayso the honey that came out of it was leaking out of the kaveres. It was leaking out of the beehive. So now there's no teretz. Once it's out of the beehive, what does Rav Kahana say? For sure it's a Michael. And nevertheless it says, so now we really have a heavy kasha on Rav Kahana. Because before we explained, okay, that was Shita Rebbe Lezer. Or like Abaye was referring to Chalas Lavash. Says Gemara Bishlem ela Abaye Nicha. According to Abaye, I understand why it's still not Michael Adam, because we're referring dafke to those two chalis that remain in the kaveres for the bees to sustain themselves. That's why it's not Michael Adam. That he says you're referring to all the honey in the kaveres. So that's a big problem. The honey is leaking out, and now you can't use Rabbi Lezer. Rabbi Lezer says as long as it's in the kaveres has it didn't like karka. And it's not a Michael. But now we're talking about it leaked out. So according to Avkar, no, it should be Mamash Michael. Kasha is a Kasha. Amrav Zid, Kegain Shezov Agabi Klimos. Over here it's talking about that where did the honey leak on? It leaked on a disgusting keli. So unless he said, I'll still want it to be a Michael Adam, then it's a Michael Adam. If not, normally if it falls on a Klimos, it's no more considered as a Michael. Versus the Chachamim said, here you say it's not a Kli Michael because it touched the Kli Mos, because in the Kaveres it was not a Kli, it wasn't considered as a Michael. According to Chachamim said even while it was in the Kaveres, it had a din as a Michael. So even if it falls on the Kli Mos, it should still be a Michael. The only way it should become a Michael, according to the Chachamim, is only if it's going to be possible achilas kelev, even that a dog cannot eat it, because there it always had the name Michael. According to Rebbe Lezer, it didn't have the din Michael in the kaveres, it had a din karka. So once it leaked out and it fell on a klimos, then you have to say you had special intentions. But according to Chachamim, it always had a din Michael. The only way to become a is Michael, it mamish has to be so disgusting that a dog wouldn't even eat it. Okay. Anyway, so that's what we answered. So it is. So here, the reason why he said it's not a Michael, because it fell on a klimos. Unless he has the intention, it should be a Michael. Then it becomes a Michael. The reason why it didn't have a dim Michael, that it fell on little branches. The honey was all little pieces all over. You couldn't gather it together to make it in a Dava Chashuv as a Michael. So that's why he didn't have a din as a Michael.
What's what is that?
Because the branches. So it's a little drop here, a drop on this branch, a drop on that. You couldn't put all the honey together to make it a Dava Chashuv, a Michael, which is the size of a bay. You couldn't put it together. Therefore, it didn't have a din like a Michael Adam. Meisvei, in fact, you might have another kasha on Rava that he explained Rav Kahana's case is like either like Rabbi Lezer or like Rabbi Lezer. The vash bekavarta ein aloi oichav aloi mashke. We learn the honey that's found in the kaveres is not a oichal nor a mashke. Chishra lo lachila. But what if he intended to eat it? Metama to mesechlin. Then it becomes a din like a Michael. Lemashkin, if he had in mind that it should be considered as a liquid, which is a, let's say, a revius look, then it could be metamatumas mashkin. It could be metamatumas mashkin. In fact, the Yemara bin Shleim ala Abaya nicha. It's understood according to Abaya why it's normally it's not a Michael, right? Because it's set aside for the bees, right? No, he left two chalois for the bees that the kavara should exist. So normally they're not mekabel tumah, but if he had in mind that nevertheless he wants it to be considered Michael Adam, yeah, will be mekabel tumah. That makes sense. That answer you can answer according to Abaya. El Rava Kasha, according to Rava, who answered that Rabbi Kahana said that the reason why the Davash in the Kaveris is not considered as a Michael Adam because it's karka. So why would it help if you had in mind that the Davash should be a Michael? It's not. It's like you're having in mind while a fruit is still attached to the tree, and you have in mind it's a Michael. Is it considered as a Michael? No, you can't. It doesn't automatically get considered as if it's cut off the tree. So too the kaveres, while the Davash, while it's still in the kaveres, just because he thought it's a Michael, it doesn't consider it as if the Davash is now outside the kaveres. I think he says this inside over here. We can't go. Like the Chulatash Shabbos Zui Kedas Shavrei Lefir Abelazar Neshel Atvash Shebekaveres Karka Bavadi Lo Yitel Machshava La Soy Kitolush. His Machshava won't be able to make it just because he says the Vash in the Kaveres, even though it's in the Kaveres, that one should be considered as Michael Adam. In order to be Michael Adam, it has to be separated from the Karka, it has to be cut off from the Karka. Just like by Pedis which are Mechubarim the Karka. And you're going to say, I have in mind that these payers that are connected, it should be a Michael. It won't be considered as Talush. It's still considered as connected to the Karka. And for the Gemara, Amalach Rava will say, Tritzachi. Learn like this. So he says like this, the Taisa says that you learn, it says, the Vash B'kavarasei, the first words in the, you have to start off the Braisa. The Vash, you see the top Taisis? The vash bekavarasai, that honey in the beehive, it's not considered as a Michael Adam, and it's not considered as a mashka. Le'inyan b'negei where le'inyan zeh she'im chishiv la'achila, that if he had in mind that it should become a Michael Adam. That it should have a din like a Michael Adam that's metamet to Meseichel, it won't help. You understand? That's how you have to learn the Braisa. That the Vash b'kavarasei loy oichav loy mashke le'inyan, that even if he had in mind that it should be considered as Michael Adam, it still won't be considered as a Michael to be metama macholim or mashkin to be metama mashkin. Tzitzachi. But you have to say like faces, start off with the first words, that the Devash b'kavarasei, you start off with the Akdama, that the honey in the biyad is not like a Eichel, it's not like a Michael Adam, not like a Mashke, even if he had in mind, it should be a Michael Adam.
You're not talking about the honey that's Zod outside, no?
No, that's not this case. Now the Gemara says, look, Rav Kahana who said, if you remember that even the Michael, if you remember Rav Kahana had said the Vash b'kaveres is always considered as a Michael Adam, right? So where do we see that? turn back 2 pages back, you'll see. Amar Rav Kahana, Dvash b'kaveres, Eina yoytze b'dei Michael. Okay?
What did you say? I'm gonna kind of
Yoytze b'dei Michael. In your Alma Kasavi, you don't even need a mashov. It's always considered as Michael Adam. So we learned the Braisa like Rav Kahana. Now he finally says that. I don't know why he didn't say that at the beginning. Dvash b'kavarta. He brings a Braisa exactly like Rav Kahana's Shita. Honey, in the Kaveres, mitamet to Mesechlin, Shalem Mashavim, without having a special Mashava that should be Michael Adam.
It's always Michael on him.
Yeah, we said, even though bees could eat it also, he doesn't have to have a special Mashava, it should be Michael Adam. That's what Rav Kahana said before.
Before we said it's not. If it's in the beehive, it's not Michael.
No, so we is on Rav Kahana, but we learned it's in the Braisa that it's not. If it's in the Kaveres, it's not like a Eichla Mashka to be Matama.
Yeah.
So one, Abai answered, it's talking about the 2 chalis, which is designated for the bees.
Okay.
According to Rava, we said that's not talking about Rav Kahana. It's talking about Rabbi Lezer, who says it's the Karka. Rav Kahana doesn't hold of that shita. We had to find a Braisa like Rav Kahana. Here we have it. Zog the Gemara, Zeisim, olive tree, Kidei Lokoitz, in order to cut the branches. He has to leave 2 branches in order that it should be able to grow back, to regrow. One who buys a tree from his friend to cut the wood, to use the wood for himself, the one that's buying, and he's only buying the wood, he's not buying the tree. So he has to be careful not to destroy the tree. So how does he do it? He has to leave at least a tefach from the bark of the tree above the karka. And then he cuts above the tefach. Why? In order that this tree should be able to regrow. Besulas, a sycamore. What's if it was a sycamore tree that was never pruned, it was never cut, a young sycamore tree? Then you need shleisha tvachim, 3 tvachim above the bark, above the karka. Besad sycamore, but an old sycamore tree that they did prune, they did cut, there you don't need so many tvachim above to regrow because it's rooted in the ground much more. So all you need is shnei tvachim, 2 tvachim. Kanim, reeds, ubikfanim, and vines, minap kak, from the first knot above it, that's where you cut it. Ulamaila, and above the knot.
That's where you can cut.
That's where you can cut, not under it. Bitkalim, by date trees, ubarazim, cedar trees, chayfa umishorish. You could dig and uproot the whole tree. Lefisheng is a machlif. It never grows back. Once you cut it, it doesn't grow back. That's it. Cedar trees.
Oh, I mean, if you cut it,
You cut for the wood.
If you cut any wood out, that's it.
It's not growing back. No. Right. That's it. Says the Gemara, Hasikimor Shleishim Tvachminan. By the young sycamore tree is only 3. You need 3 tvachim above the ground. You need so much. What do you mean? I'm going to ask you a question. It says Ein Kitzim Sulas Hashikma Bashviz Mipnei She'aveda. It says you're not allowed to cut even the young sycamore tree in the year of Shvius because it's considered as working Shvius because it's thickening the tree. It says Ksitzas Sulas Sycamore Nasis Kidei Sha'etz Yisarva. It should become thick. Yatzmiach Hanof Rabim, and it should grow a lot of branches. So it's Aveda. You're not allowed to do Aveda in the year of Shvius. The Torah says, "Befedish Mekar Micha Loisizmer." So you find you should not cut it. Here you're cutting. Only if you cut it in the normal way that you cut it, that's forbidden to do in the year of Shvius. But Ella, the only way you could do it in the year of Shvius, Magbiyah Asad Tvachim, you cut above 10 Tvachim. So Magbiyah Asad Tvachim Mechitzes. You go above 10 Tvachim above the Karka and you cut it over there, or you cut it right by the ground, flat on the ground. Why? Because that's not considered as Aveda, which is forbidden in Shvius. Because you're destroying the tree in these 2 cases. Says look what he says. When is it mutter? If you're cutting it flat on the ground, because then you're destroying the tree. But if it's a little bit higher, malila, it's good. So you said you need to do it above 3 tvachim. You just need to drop over the karka. Abaya said shloisha tvachim alila. 3 tvachim is very good. Me'im haaretz v'adei kashala. Above mamish flat with the ground is terrible for the tree. It destroys the tree. From 3 tvachim to from the ground till 3 tvachim is not bad, but it's not good. Okay. Gabe shviyis abdina mit sabay shviyis. You want to get out of a suffix if you're being meshabech the tree in the year shviyis, then it's considered as aveda. So you want to make sure you're not being meshabech in any fashion. So then you have to do it with a vade that you're destroying the tree. So abdina mit the vade kashla. You have to do it in a way that's completely destroying the tree. Either you flatten on the ground or you go above 10 tvachim and you cut it. When it comes to somebody who's buying just the branches, you're not allowed to destroy his tree. You have to do it in a way that the tree for sure will grow. So that's from above 3 tvachim till 10 tvachim. So by date trees and cedar trees, those you uproot it because it never grows back. You're saying a cedar tree doesn't grow back? What is this that it said in Tilim? Tzadik katomi yifrach. A tzadik flourishes like a date tree. Ke'eres balvana and yizga, and it grows like a cedar tree in Lebanon. He says, if you would write just that tzaddik is compared to a tama, no, now he's asking, if the tzaddik is compared to a tama, why are you comparing it to a cedar tree? Says you want to be nemelas, and if you're comparing it to eres, why are you comparing it to a date tree? So why did the pasuk compare the tzaddik to 2 different type of ilanis? Says you want to ilu nema eres. If it would only say eres, v'lo nema tama, and it wouldn't say tama, I would have said ma eres, just like this cedar tree. A cedar tree doesn't give off fruits. A tzaddik ain't I would say, a tzaddik consumes all his schar in this world, and he doesn't get any schar in the world to come. That's why we say it's compared to a tama. Just like a tama gives off peitus, so too a tzaddik gets peitus by l'mabah. If you're going to say just it's compared to a date tree, and it wouldn't say a cedar tree. I would have said just like a date tree, that it doesn't, the roots don't become renewed, right? Once it's cut, a tzaddik ain't gizim machlif. So to a tzaddik, that it won't give any birth, it won't have any children that will follow his path. Lekach nema le'eres. That's why it says it's compared to eres. That by eres, if you cut it, it will grow back. It's the opposite of what we just said. We said by a cedar tree, you uproot it. Why? Because it'll never grow back. A tzaddik is like a eres, that he'll have children that will grow after. Even if a tama that you would think paydays gives off paydays, right? So if you first of all, it's paydays that tell you. A paydays that means for the schar no'ilam haba, but it doesn't have children following it, because if you cut that tree, it doesn't grow back.
He's like an eres.
Eres, no, he's telling you, no, he's like eres. He will have children that will follow his path. So the mother. So what's going on here? We just said it doesn't grow back by eres. Over here is talking about b'shamini arazim. By different, when do we say eres grows back? It's referring to different type of cedar trees. There are many different categories. Rabbi Baravuna said, "I'm Beit Rav." They said in Yeshiva of Rav, there are 10 categories of cedar trees. Shanema, like it says in the pasuk, Etin b'mitva eres shita b'hadas ve'etz shaman. Osim v'goyma. So we're going to touch each one. Erez. So which is the tree that doesn't grow back? The one that's called Erez, cedar tree. Stam Erez doesn't grow back. Okay. Erez. What is Erez? Arza, cedar. Shita, Tunisa. Shita is Tunisa. I don't know exactly what that is. Hadas huasa. Hadas is myrtle. Shaman is afasima. Afasima is balsam. Bereish is juniper, it says over there. I wrote it down because I wouldn't remember. Tita, shaga, is leek. Asher Shervina, Cyprus. So Hani Shiba says he wanted it's only 7. After you want to when Avdina came from there to sell to Bava, he said they added another 3. Aloinim, Amoinim, Almugim. It sounds like the Satma, the Zalmoinim and the Aroinim. Okay, so they added another 3. Aloinim Hinbutni is pistachio tree. Amoinim, that's Aloinim. Amoinim Balute is oak. Amugim, he says Ksisa is coral trees. Ikadamri, it's Aroinim, Amoinim, Almugim. Aroinim is Ore, is he says over here, laurel trees. Amoinim is Dulbe, is plain. He calls it plain. Amugim is Ksisa, is coral trees. Okay?